Well, hi there. I am Mr. Twisty. I am so happy to see you again. I am in my treehouse attic looking for a special magic hat. I've been looking for a bit now. Maybe I should try some magic. Abracadabra, abracathat. Please appear, oh magical hat. Cool. Now I have my magical hat. I feel confident I can do amazing things. What do you call a bumblebee trying to make up its mind? A maybe.
Now that joke was a winner.
Oh, well, I have a very special story for you today. Omar and the Magic Hat. I can't tell you why yet, but for today's show, I've decided to make a balloon animal bumblebee. You know, some people say that according to science, a bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly. Its wings are a little too small for its big round body. But do you know what? The bumblebee doesn't worry about that. It doesn't listen to voices that say, "You can't." It just opens its wings and flies. Isn't that a wonderful thing to think about? The bumblebee reminds us that when we believe in ourselves, when we try our best, we can do amazing things too. I like to think that just like the bumblebee, we all have something special inside us that helps us soar. Buzzing with excitement, aren't you? Well, it's almost President's Day, and I have a beautiful special show for you. Today's story is all about Omar and the Magic Hat. A beyond amazing tribute to President Lincoln, and a magic trick that I just can't wait to buzz about. So don't fly away. Stick around, won't you? There's still a hive full of fun to come.
Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventure. Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventure. Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventure. Here comes Mr. Twisty.
I am so glad you are here, and welcome to my magical treehouse. It's a place full of fun, laughter, and maybe even a surprise or two. Are you ready for a twisty adventure? I sure am. Let's get started. One of my favorite things to do to get ready for story time is telling silly jokes, especially dad jokes. Let's wake up our thinking caps and get ready for today's magical adventure. Ready to think? Okay, so now think funny. Do you like to think funny? Let's tell 3 silly dad jokes. Okay, number 1. What do bees call their backup plans? Plan B. Okay, number 2. What do bees chew? Bumble gum. Oh, no, we still have one more to tell. One more joke. Joke number 3. What do you call a bee that lives in America? A USB. Speaking of America, it's almost President's Day here in the US, so I thought maybe I could share something special with you about my favorite president, Abraham Lincoln. Hey friends, today is almost President's Day, and look what I found in my old trunk. a photograph of Abraham Lincoln.
Great Emancipation Proclamation. I can talk.
Wow! Mr. President, you can talk! Oh.
Well, I'll be a beardless politician. What in the name of top hats is going on here? Hold your horses. I can get out of my seat and... Well, would you look at that? I've got a tongue longer than my Gettysburg Address.
This is incredible, Mr. President. Welcome to Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventures.
Much obliged, Mr. Twisty. Tell me, what's this President's Day all about?
Well, Mr. President, it's a day when we celebrate all the presidents who have led our country, especially you and George Washington.
That's mighty kind. As I always said, whatever you are, be a good one. I suppose that goes for presidents, too. You know, I had to make some very difficult decisions during my time as president. It's heartening to know that history remembers me in a positive light.
President Lincoln, you're remembered as one of the greatest presidents ever. Can you tell us about growing up on a farm?
Well, Mr. Twisty, I grew up in a tiny log house with my family. We didn't have much, but we had each other. I spent my days helping out on the farm, and at night I'd read anything I could get my hands on. By candlelight, of course.
You grew up on a farm, Mr. Lincoln, so you must know this one. Why did the Scarecrow become a successful politician?
I haven't the foggiest idea. Why?
He was outstanding in his field.
Well, I'll be. You're quite the jokester, Mr. Twisty. Though I must confess, I didn't grow this beard to look distinguished. I actually grew it so I could look like the fella on the $5 bill. Handsome guy.
Oh, that's a good one. Mr. President, speaking of currency, I heard you're quite the penny pincher.
Indeed, Mr. Twisty. I've been saving face on pennies for over a century now.
Kids today are so lucky to have the internet with access to, well, everything. What was it like for you to get books, Mr. Lincoln?
In my day, we walked miles to borrow books. The nearest library was over 20 miles away. Our little log cabin didn't have many books, so I'd borrow them from neighbors or read by candlelight after a long day's work on the farm. I hope kids today appreciate how amazing it is to have such easy access to whatever they want to learn, whatever sparks their curiosity.
Wow, that's dedication. What was school like for you?
Well, Mr. Twisty, my schooling was quite different from today. I attended a one-room schoolhouse with students of all ages. We had few supplies, often writing on wooden paddles with charcoal. But I loved learning, even in those simple conditions.
That's fascinating, Mr. Lincoln. It's amazing how things have changed. Now, you have libraries and the internet at your fingertips.
Indeed. Times have certainly changed. It's wonderful to see how accessible knowledge has become.
Speaking of education, Mr. Lincoln, have you noticed my magical cap?
Yes, I have. It's quite peculiar. What's the story behind it?
Well, Mr. President, this cap represents the true magic of learning and growing. It stands for CAP. C, cheer yourself on.
Ah, yes. As I used to say, believe in yourself and you're halfway there.
Exactly. Then A, ask for help when you need it. And P, practice solving problems with patience.
What a marvelous concept. Can you teach me a rhyme to remember it?
Sure. Here's one. Cap on tight. Dreams ignite. Cheer, ask, learn, to reach new height. Your magic shines, your future's bright.
Ah, cap on tight, dreams ignite. Cheer, ask, learn to reach new height. Your magic shines, your future's bright. Splendid, Mr. Twisty. We make quite the team. We should take this show on the road.
Oh, that would be something. A time-traveling president and a magical storyteller touring the country.
Indeed. But I suppose I should return to my frame now. Remember, young friends, be honest, work hard, and never stop learning. As for saying goodbye, I know Mr. Twisty prefers not to. So instead, I'll say hello backwards, which is, yes, I know, O-L-L-E-H, Ole. And remember, a house divided against itself cannot stand, but a house united can withstand anything. But I just can't believe the wait. I'm ready to buzz right into today's story.
Omar and the Magic Hat. One day in the attic, Omar found a hat, pointy and sparkly and dusty at that. He slipped it on, his eyes opened wide. He felt a tingly, fizzy feeling growing inside. I think this hat is magic, Omar said. It fills me with courage right here in my head. Omar found a tissue and ripped it in two, then closed his eyes wondering, can magic be true? And he peeked. The pieces were whole once more. Omar was amazed. His jaw dropped clear to the floor. The next day at school, Omar wore his new hat, feeling great, ready for anything just like that. At recess, Mia jumped high with her rope. Omar, come try it, she cheered with little hope. Omar had always stumbled, mistripped and fell. But with his magic hat, Omar thought maybe he could do well. Up and down he went in rhythm and flow. His magic was a trust in what he could show. Then one day Omar forgot his magic hat. The spelling bee's today. Oh no, he couldn't do that. My magic's in that hat, he said with a frown. Without it, he feared he'd let everyone down. But Mia leaned in and whispered down low, now the magic's in you. Just let it show. Omar took a deep breath and stepped to the stage, suddenly feeling brave and strong for his age. He spelled each word, one by one, then the crowd cheered loudly, Omar, you did it! You won! Omar grinned and whispered, Mia was right. My magic's inside, now shining bright. Now Omar knew, with or without his hat, his own courage was where the true magic was at. If you had a magic hat like Omar's too, what wonderful things would you dare to do? Will you dream of the things you can achieve and explore? With faith in yourself, you'll find treasures galore. Remember, like Omar, that you hold the power. Believe in yourself every day, every hour. Do you know what really touched my heart? How Omar discovered that the real magic wasn't in his hat. It was in himself all along. Isn't that amazing? It reminds us that the most incredible magic comes from within. Just like Omar and President Lincoln, you have your own special magic. When you believe in yourself, speak kindly to yourself, try your best to solve problems, you're using that magic every day. And here's a fun way to remember how to tap into your magic. Put on your thinking cap. C, cheer yourself on with kind words. A, ask for help when you need it. And P, practice solving problems with patience. And here's the secret to spreading your magic. Being kind to others is like sprinkling magical dust wherever you go. Share a smile, lend a helping hand, and watch how the world around you shines a little brighter. Isn't that the best kind of magic? Well, Omar really tore it up with a ripping good magic trick in today's story, the torn and restored tissue trick. Before I have to boogie, would you like to see me try? Let's wipe away our doubts and unfold some real magic together. It's time to wrap up for now. What? Oh, excuse me. Whew. What's that? You want me to keep going? All right. Next week, I promise you more fun, more laughs, and plenty of surprises just like today. Spending time with you is the best part of my week. And I hope you'll join me for another adventure on Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventures. You know I don't like to say goodbye. Instead, I like to say hello backwards. Olé! See you next week!
Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventure. Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventure. Mr. Twisty's Storytime Adventure. So much fun with Mr. Twisty.